I'm not going to listen to your little whining. Shut up, you dumb bacteria. And by the way, those of you who think you're going to die from 10 seconds of cold water, go ahead and die and be replaced by young, strong mitochondria. You can make heat on demand because that's your job already.
You're listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. This is your seat at the table.
One thing that I see over and over and over in all of your things is that it's kind of pretty much all about the mitochondria. Can you tell us kind of briefly what they are?
You have a sensing network embedded in your body that looks for threats and things to eat. And it thinks about this way before you get to think about it. So it gets first choice. What they determine is a threat, you determine is a threat. Right? So if someone yells at you in a board meeting or you get some criticism online or whatever, and you feel that thing right here, what do you think triggered that? They think you're going to die. And they send a signal to you that I think I'm going to die. And your job is to tell those guys, I'm sorry, you have it backwards here. You're my pet and you have to do what I tell you. And just to make sure you know who's in charge, every morning after I take a nice warm shower, I'm going to turn that water on cold and let it hit me right here. And you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, Dave Asprey's a jerk. And they're going to say, you're going to die, get out of the water. And you're going to last about 10 seconds before you believe them. But the next day, you're going to last 20 seconds. And the next day, 40. And on the fourth day, something magic's going to happen. You're like, you know what? I feel damned amazing. Like, this is a really good day. And maybe I lost a little bit of weight. And what you did there is you told them, I'm not going to listen to your little whining. Shut up, you dumb bacteria. And by the way, those of you who think you're going to die from 10 seconds of cold water, go ahead and die and be replaced by young, strong mitochondria. You can make heat on demand because that's your job already. Guess what else they make on demand? They make willpower on demand. It's kind of important, right?
Now, you said brain fog was a challenge for you before. How do you avoid that and keep your brain on as much of the time as possible?
Every time you have brain fog, it's your fault. That's the first thing to understand. You did something, you just don't know what it was. One of the tenets of the whole bulletproof lifestyle, the bulletproof approach is stop doing the stuff that makes you weak. And you do that before you do the stuff that makes you strong. And there's so many of us out who are like, I'm just going to go and learn how to carry a 50-pound kettlebell. And you're like, maybe you should set down the one you're already carrying before you try and get strong enough to carry the other one. It just, like, as a lazy person, wouldn't it be easier? And it's the same thing with brain fog. So it's almost always something you're doing with your sleep, with your food, or with your environment. And where energy comes from in the body. The brain uses the most energy, so you feel energetic problems in the brain first. It comes from mitochondria. Mm-hmm. Their job is to bring light, air, and food together, and then to make energy for the body, right, and then to cause the body to react to the environment around you so that you'll live the longest, at least long enough to reproduce. 48% of people under age 40 have early onset mitochondrial dysfunction, and all of us over age 40 have it. It's called aging. And what that means is you suck at taking food and air and making energy. Some of the energy that was supposed to go to your brain so it would be foggy went to the love handles, basically, inflammation. So your job is to tweak that system so that you have more energy. And the first place you feel energy is in the brain. And there's short-term hacks, things like cold showers in the morning. Almost all of what I write about, it's about these other lifestyle things to tell the weak parts of your body to die. Only the strong survive. And, that's what sprinting does versus going for a long jog. That's what a cold shower does. All those other things are just tell the body, stay young. And when you do that, your brain fog declines. And if your blood sugar level crashes and you're not a fat burner, then for God's sake, eat something. Right. But if you eat the wrong thing, something has MSG, you're going to have another one. So you have control of your environment, of your biology, more than any generation in all of history. You want it warmer, you want it colder, you want it brighter, you want it darker, you want to eat any substance on Earth, you can afford almost any food on the planet. It's up to you to pick the ones that give you energy. And here's the trick. What makes you really strong may not be the same thing that makes the person sitting right next to you really strong. Right. There's going to be a great degree of overlap, but I can tell you for some people, you eat that, you're going to get brain fog. Start paying attention. Like, it's all right there. The data's there on your plate. Just, if I feel crappy right now, what did I do a half hour ago? That's probably what caused it. Start there.
So you mentioned as part of the fog thing, sleep. What is your research into sleep revealed, and can we hack that?
One of the biggest things you can do is sleep in a room that's absolutely pitch dark. So here's the deal. Blue light, green light, in fact, almost any kind of light except pure red light, small amounts of it disrupts your sleep. So you still go to sleep, but your sleep quality goes down. And the deal is you want to sleep less hours because you have stuff to do that's fun, but you want to get as much sleep as it's going to take to make you feel good and live a long time. So sleep efficiency is more important than length of sleep. So 10 hours of crappy sleep isn't as good as 6 hours of really good sleep. So one of the things you do is you make sure it's dark, whatever it takes. lowering the temperature of your room, not eating after dark. But for some of us who wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, you actually want to have a specific kind of small snack before bed to prop up your blood sugar so you don't wake up with adrenaline and cortisol. When you get your hardware working, in other words, your cells can make enough energy again, it frees up enough energy, and that energy becomes willpower. You can use that for personal development. And if you're running a company, it's your job to be a good human being, because your company is an energetic reflection of your energy. So if you're like anxious and chaotic inside all the time, you kind of need to work on that, because if you don't, your company is going to be the same way. Literally, it's so true. And what's going on there is you got to do something to gain awareness of what's happening inside.
If you could get everyone to make one decision about their health and make one change, what would you wish for them?
This is something I do with my kids every night. I sit down and I say, all right, tell me 3 things you're grateful for. Mm-hmm. If you can tell yourself to not just think of something you're grateful for, but actually feel gratitude, you can do that right now. Even if it's like the worst day you've had in a long time, it could always be much worse. But if you can find that sensation of gratitude, just grateful to be sitting here in this room at this event, that turns off the fight or flight response. So those mitochondrial messages that tell you, I'm not safe, tell you I'm not good enough, company could go out of business, or they don't like me, or whatever the heck voices in your head are lying to you, gratitude shuts that off. So if you build that practice that every morning or every night or both, or anytime you're feeling really stressed, just feel gratitude for anything that pops into your mind. That is one of the easiest ways to increase energy production in the body, reduce inflammation, make yourself happy, and make yourself act with kindness towards others. And it doesn't cost you a nickel, and it takes less than 30 seconds.
You've been listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. If you're enjoying the show, let us know by subscribing and leaving a review. And for more information, go to businesslunchpodcast.com. Thank you for listening.